Most people in quantitative trading spend months optimizing things that barely matter, myself included. I did many things that actually never gave me any edge or any result, but it felt really productive, like optimizing things, etc., etc. But in reality, a small number of action can create most of the result. The best quant, in my opinion, understand the leverage point. And today, with AI, leverage has become even more powerful. You can have a leverage multiplier with AI. So I'm going to explain some concepts that I think are very important, not only for trading related things. You can apply this to almost everything. But today we're going to see how I'm applying those concepts, because the main concepts are leverage point and Pareto principle. So today we're going to see how this applies to quant trading. For example, why I'm saying leverage point are important. This is like a random page on internet I found. So let's start with the presentation of this video so you can understand the main concept here. So the 80-20 rule of quant trading, the main goal is to find the leverage point that actually move the results, and of course using AI to amplify them. So the most effort is motion and not progress. A lot of work feel like productive while it's not producing anything. Okay, it's no real output, like changing strategy every week, overfitting something that actually doesn't have any edge, or watching infinite tutorials or YouTube video, okay, or optimizing something like a code that actually doesn't have any edge, okay. You think you're investing well your time, but actually you're not. Effort and results are rarely linear, okay. So you have to understand that, of course, you can spend like 100 hours trying to build some type of alpha, okay. In the end, if you find something that has the same correlation with the other strategies, it doesn't make any sense because you lost time. That's why I'm showing you the Pareto principle and the leverage point. With the Pareto principle, you understand the math behind, and you can find this on Wikipedia. This is a math concept that you can apply to complex system like economy or other things like this. The example here, it was like the richest people are almost the 20% of the people in the world that own 80% of the wealth in the entire world. Okay, so that's like an average. Okay, it could be 5% and 95, or maybe 10% and 90%. But I think if you apply this concept to trading and to your own progress, you can see an insane improvement of your progress. Okay, so the basic concept here is a small share of inputs. A small share of input tends to drive the majority of outcomes. So the goal here is to find those 20%. The main goal of this video is to explain to you that you should understand how to find this 20%. So what is the 20% of input you should work on to receive the 80% results? In this case, we're going to analyze the few inputs that carry the system, okay? So in this case, one solid research framework or one clean dataset, risk management, and consistent execution. But the main goal is to find the leverage point. This is connected together because like the 20% of the Pareto principle, it's actually a leverage point, okay? So each input in the 20% means a disproportionately large outcome compared to the effort. Here it says place a small improvement can create a greater proportion outcome. If you have a proportion 1-to-1, you invest 1 hour of your time and you get 1 hour back from something else. For example, you invest 1 hour and then you get a result that could have cost you 10 hours or even more. It's not just time, it's everything. So your goal should be find those leverage point first, and then everything else is a detail. That's like what I can say. Probably you heard this phrase before, but this is actually very powerful because when you understand this, everything else, it doesn't matter. So there is the Pareto principle work also on the other side. Like you could do 80% of the work and receive only 20% of the outcome, okay? So you don't want to focus on those things. But let's get back to the leverage point and then the research process. So one of those leverage point in trading is actually research process. Okay, so that's why I'm saying all of this, because if you watched my last video, you saw that I built an entire workflow, an institutional workflow to find alpha. Okay, because I was spending probably hundreds of hours just to build my own edge. That's something reasonable, but not reasonable with the AI. So now you have something that you can pay like 20 euro a month. That's nothing compared to the output you get back. So this is leverage. This is an insane leverage point using those AI agent. The research process replace random experimentation with structured hypothesis testing and fast iteration loops. Speed of learning is the edge. I can test like 20 different strategies, like actual different, not just different parameters. I can test, for example, like RSI or maybe something mean reverse, and then at the same time I can test like some trend following and see what did work for this asset. That's the main goal. Speed of learning is the edge. The goal is like find alpha quickly. The research process, that's a big leverage point. Of course, data quality, you cannot find something that has a low quality that is not comparable to your own broker liquidity. What I mean by this, you cannot test something on Realtix data with a 40% of quality. So I'm sure that this is not going to perform as well in real market data, like live trading. Can't happen because of the quality. It was too low. You cannot trust something with this low quality. Risk management, most profitable system fail on risk, not on signal. Signal could be really good, but then the risk management is not good for the whole system. Maybe you have something with high correlation, and even if the signal is good, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have any sense to double risk for no reason, just because you didn't know enough about risk management. And then consistency, like one decent strategy run consistently, outperform consistently switching system, and also the compounding. You have to understand that compounding punishes restarts. Okay, but this is different. This is about like a portfolio that increase also the risk year by year. That's a little different. It's like the visibility. Of course, this is also a leverage point. In my case, my YouTube channel is a leverage point because I spent probably less than 25 hours in total, and I already found people that I could easily work with very high skills, and also other people that could help me achieve like bigger amount of capital under management and achieve even more, of course. That's like what I was saying before. AI is a leverage multiplier. So the goal, guys, is to understand that AI is like, you think about AI like something, or maybe someone that has like an insane amount of skills, okay? But like, you have to understand that you should know the process, you should know what to do, and then leverage what you're doing with AI. So faster coding, paper summaries, research ideas, like faster hypothesis tests, and quicker infrastructure, okay? That's the main thing. I think for you right now, one of the biggest leverage point that, of course, it helped me a lot this time, in this exact moment, it was to explain to one of the AI, like Claude, my situation, the amount of money I'm managing, all my strategies, like my portfolio, and then of course never show personal data, just be generic, and then ask the AI acting as a portfolio manager, headphone manager, etc., etc., etc. So the more context you give, the better output you're going to receive. That's the basic concept of prompting. And so like the AI, like in this case Opus, came out with like a list, a roadmap of leverage point for me in my exact moment. Most of those things I already knew. So I knew like probably 60% of the things the AI told me. But of course, you have to really understand those things. Okay, that I was losing time on something like that it didn't give me any like better output. And so I came out with this tool here. Another big thing is to be really organized. In this case, guys, this is my strategies portfolio. It's the portfolio of all of my algorithms. I'm not trading all of them. I'm trading the live portfolio. It has like 10 of those strategies, but those are all of these strategies I found over the years. So for example, this is a QQQ trading strategies that's tested from 2020 with 1 minute open, buy, low, close. It doesn't make sense here, but I'm going to explain you later how this tool work. I have all of the strategies and the metrics. As you can see, this is the asset. That's the name of the algorithm. Is tested from 2018 till almost now, and all of the parameters. In this case is 1 minute open, high, low, close, 98% quality, but I'm going to show you very basic. Okay, yeah. In this case, you can see that this is, in this case, you can see 94% ticks real, so real ticks data. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And when you are disorganized, okay, for the AI to help you is going to be way more easier compared to someone else that doesn't have this structure, okay? So yeah, and what I did here, it was the analysis, okay? So it took all of my trading algorithm that I'm trading live right now, and then compare them all together, the output of those, okay? So the trades report, basically, and then it built different type of analysis. Like this is like the correlation heat map, okay? You see here an insane amount of strategies because it's dividing all of them by long and short trades. Then this is the correlation. It's very dark in the middle because it's matching with the same strategy. There is a different engines. I'm not going to show you all of the engine, but there is an engine that is taking the HTML link and then copy that and build this folder here for each strategy. And then the analysis is building this and the equity line, the baseline versus the new one, etc. And then this is the selection log. That's the one I want to show you because the main goal of this leverage point was to find, and now I'll explain to you why this is a leverage point. Because I was actually searching for new alpha, okay, when I had already many different strategies. Like in this case, you see 6 strategies, okay, that I can easily aggregate to my portfolio, okay, and see an improvement of my own portfolio, okay. So that's why this is a leverage point. I already had many strategies, okay, with very low correlation with my portfolio that I wasn't using, okay. Freeze alpha generator. So like a strategy that work, but you're not using it, okay. It doesn't make any sense. So that's why Claude told me about this leverage point. And actually that's something that makes sense. And of course, like I realized that in person, like without the AI, but then the AI helped me with the roadmap, okay? And then I think about how I could get this thing done, okay? And I with this idea. So basically here is telling me which type of strategy and how much is going to increase the overall portfolio performance. In this case, if I'm adding this mean reverse on EURUSD, is going to give my portfolio a increase of the Sharpe ratio of 0.2. That's really good, okay? Just adding these strategies as it is, okay? So that's why it's like a big leverage point. I don't have to put any more effort to achieve this increment in my Sharpe ratio. Same thing for QQQ, same thing for all of those, okay? And then it's telling me which one should I work on even more. So that's the main thing. That's also is important to understand that AI is a leverage multiplier because like, aim AI at noise and you just get faster noise. So it means that's leverage on both sides. If you put leverage on something, you're going to achieve your own goal faster. But if you're not using AI on the 20% that gives you the 80%, you're going to put a lot of effort because like, you got leverage on something that is not going to give you the 80% result, but actually only the 20%. So that's very important to understand what are your own leverage point. That's not just trading. This is the final action plan, your highest leverage activity, and then eliminate the low leverage noise, like watching your performance after each trade. Okay, why you are watching that? It doesn't make any sense. Watching the daily P&L, maybe you can watch it once every day, but not every hour. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Or maybe on YouTube, Guru's video. That thing, it doesn't make any sense. And then eliminate low leverage noise, aim AI at the bottleneck, okay? Coding, research summary, automation, brainstorming, where it removes a real constraint, okay? And then repeat consistently. Compounding only works if you stay consistent long enough. The goal isn't to work more, is to find the few things that matter, okay? If you're still working the same time you were working like 5 years ago, that's not good, okay? That's a sign that you're not working on the leverage point. That's my little idea that I realized recently, because I also was spending a lot of time on things that doesn't matter. So in quant trading, and honestly in life, leverage is everything. Leverage beats intensity. Leave a comment, and if you have any idea like new leverage point or maybe something that I didn't mention here, and of course you're going to find in the comment down below the prompt I used to get my own roadmap. So see you.